Attorney General. He joins dozens of lawmakers calling for Holder's resignation. Republican Congressman Jason Chaffetz is on the House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform. He's my guest from his home state of Utah. And, sir, welcome back here to America's Newsroom.
Good morning.
Why do you think this list keeps growing?
Because the Attorney General has not been candid and forthright in providing documents to the United States Congress as he is required with the subpoenas. The Inspector General at the Department of Justice has had access to nearly 80,000 documents, yet the United States Congress has only received about 6,000 documents. We think he's in violation of a subpoena, and we're getting to the point where our frustration has just gone beyond the point of reason, and, you know, we're looking at and considering holding the Attorney General in contempt.
Well, you have not joined this list, however, and you're sitting on the committee. Why not?
Yeah. Well, it's sitting on the committee, on both Judiciary and the Oversight Committee. I want to see all the documents before I come to the final conclusion. What I think, though, is clear at this point is that despite what President Obama has said repeatedly throughout his campaign and then his term in the White House, is they're not being candid and forthright. They are not providing the documents, the openness and transparency that he promised.
Well, you are clearly dubious about his business. So why not just come out and say it? Call for his resignation.
Well, if I'm going to sit on the panel that's going to help offer some judgment here and be objective in looking at it, I want to see all the documents. I think at the point that we're at now, of the 22 categories of subpoenas that we've offered, there are 13 categories in which we've had 0 documents. I think it's fair to insist that we get those documents, review those documents, air this out so that it never ever happens again, and then make that judgment.
Okay,
that's at least the approach that I've taken.
You know they've given tens of thousands of documents to the Inspector General at the Department of Justice. Yeah. I know you're looking, I think, for 80,000 documents in total, of which you have 6,000 or 7,000 on hand, but those documents have gone internally. What would be the difference in giving them to them as opposed to giving them to you?
Well, I think that goes to the point that the Department of Justice is potentially in contempt. And we, as the Oversight Committee, Chairman Issa is doing a wonderful job and being very aggressive with this administration, but also very patient. I think, as you can see, we need to bend over backwards. The Department of Justice asked for an extension yesterday, marked the 5-month point at which we gave them an extension to provide these documents. But I would hope, and I think we're starting to see now, that on both sides of the aisle, this is not a partisan issue. The Department of Justice must provide the United States Congress these documents, and they haven't thus far.
You know, there are Tea Party groups trying to crank up the pressure on fellow Republicans to put more heat on Holder. What do you think he's hiding?
Well, look, we want to know what did he know and when, and was there a potential cover-up? You got to go back to the February, this is like a year ago, February 4th email or document or letter that we got was sent to Senator Grassley. It was an absolute fabrication. It was misleading to the United States Congress. You can't do that at the highest levels. Lanny Brewer, the head of the commission, I don't think he was candid and forthright. He had to come back later and apologize. But there is, I think, a lot of growing evidence that suggests there was a cover-up at the Department of Justice. We can't stand for that. They just cannot happen.
We will see where that leads, and if indeed, in the end, that is the case. Jason Chaffetz, thank you, out of Salt Lake City today.
Thank you.
All right.